Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. So, I'm a pretty big fan of the Rolling Stones. I don't have all of their albums, but the ones I have, for the most part, I really enjoy. So, I'll show you what I have. And there's one album. This is what this video is about. There's one album that I need to get because I played it last night and I hadn't heard it in quite a while. And I was actually really impressed with it. So, we'll get to that in a minute. First of all, I've got Rolling Stones Through the Past Starkly, Big Hits Volume 2. This was the album back in the late 60s. I think it was the first Rolling Stones album I ever heard, and it's what really made me appreciate them a lot more because I was such a big Beatles fan, of course, right? So it's always the Beatles over the Rolling Stones. But I really, really loved this. Still do today. Then I have one of their live albums, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, which is excellent. And I've got two versions of their Satanic Majesty's Request. Hey, I said it right. This one here. Then a mono version. I've also got Baker's Banquet. Let It Bleed. Probably my favorite. Sticky Fingers. Exile on Main Street. Forgot the name of it for a second. Which is excellent. Goat's Head Soup. It's Only Rock and Roll. Black and Blue, which I feel is underrated. Some Girls. Tattoo You. And Emotional Rescue. So before I show you the one album I need to get, I wanted to quickly mention I also last night finally heard the two new Rolling Stones songs for the first time. And I was so impressed with them. Seriously impressed. It sounded like what you would want from the Rolling Stones, even at this period, since they're a few years older than they were in the 70s, but it's got that 70s spirit to it. Lots of energy. And so I'm starting to think I might be buying the new Rolling Stones album because, like I said, I love the two new songs. So the one album I played last night on Spotify, and I was getting kind of tired, so I think the last couple of songs I was kind of falling asleep, but not to blame the album. But I listened to the much maligned Dirty Work from 1986. Yeah, I bought this on vinyl, of course, when it came out, and I liked it at the time. Back in the 80s, you weren't thinking, oh, that dreaded 80s production. I liked the album. I didn't think it was one of their best, but there were certain songs I absolutely loved. The opening song, One Hit to the Body. I think that's a classic Rolling Stones song. Great cover version of Harlem Shuffle I've always enjoyed. And one of the final songs, Had It With You, was a great rocker. The rest of it was, so-so. But listening to it last night, almost all the way through, it rocked a lot more than I remember it rocking. And it says here, Dirty Work, recorded in 1985. And at this time, of course, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards weren't exactly getting along too well, so they weren't always in the studio at the same time. And I think Mick Jagger came in later to add most of the vocals. And then Charlie Watts was missing from a lot of the sessions because he was going through his heroin issues at the time, unfortunately. And then Bill Wyman was not always there. But still, it sounds like a Rolling Stones album, even with there's a lot of songs with a drum machine on it. And the drums are loud, right? They're a little bit of annoying. But besides that, I think overall the songs are strong. Like I said, it's a good rockin' album and full of energy. It's certainly, for me, it's not an embarrassing Rolling Stones album, except for maybe the cover. But even the cover, right? When that came out in the 80s, at least for me, I wasn't thinking, oh, wow, that's so, ugh. It just looked like the Rolling Stones in the 80s with Mick Jagger in his yellow pants. So yeah, One Hit to the Body, Fight, great rocker, Harlem Shuffle, I Still Love, Hold Back, Too Rude, Winning Ugly, I was impressed with, Back to Zero, Dirty Work, that was another, I totally, some of these songs I totally forgotten about because it's been so long since I've heard the album. And then Sleep Tonight with vocals by Keith Richards. Keith Richards isn't a great singer, but I just love his songs where he does the main vocals because it's his personality. It comes through, and I like Keith Richards, so I like his vocals. So I would love your thoughts on the Rolling Stones' Dirty Work. Do you think it's kind of unfairly maligned and is actually a underrated Rolling Stones album? Because I feel that it is. And that is it. Looking forward to your comments below. Please remember to like the video and have a great day. Goodbye.